Yes, it's really me. I'm not a hologram or something.
Prove it.
Prove it. Yeah. Okay. Well, this is it. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Juggel, but specifically Juggel lists. But first, I want to introduce you shortly in what is Juggel. I think the vision is simple. MediaWiki is great, and the mission is to provide a great. The original slide had the best, but a great productivity information platform with very nice out-of-the-box features. And what is very important, that business processes and knowledge management is integrated. You need, what you do in your business creates knowledge, and you need to be able to use that knowledge very effectively in your business as well. When you look at the technology stack, it's all MediaWiki plus, and I want to focus on slots, on the view framework in MediaWiki, on the mustache-based skin, very flexible, awesome. It says codes, but I think I typed codex, but probably I mean codex. Although it's only introduced in 143, I use it already on 139. I don't know how that can be. And it must be very integrated with your business systems, with AI models, and with external research resources, such as Google Maps or other. Okay, and another thing that's important in Juggel is a dupe, and that it's short for Juggel Cube, and it's called like that because it has 3 dimensions: the functionality, user interface. You can see that on the left. The data and the AI support. The data, you can't read it, you don't need to read it, but this is the data. What you see on the dupe is this data stored in a slot on the same page where the dupe is. And this is a very simple mechanism. You drop a dupe on a page, I'm going to show you, and it stores the data on the page itself, and you can do with it whatever you want. So what I'm going to do now is talk a little bit about features, about the Juggel features, and then I'm going to show Juggel lists. This is going to be very short, but I want to show you what let's say the extent is what Juggel can offer. Juggel pages is what we know about class definitions, page types, the UI components on a page, organizing pages, and provide standard functionality for creating pages and copying pages. That's Juggel pages. Juggel forms is creating schema-based forms, more or less in the same way, at least a very similar way as Simon described. And the forms work on data sets on the same page, or the more traditional way when you store data in a slot with a template call. Juggel charts. It's nice if you can put charts on pages, and I use Chart.js for that. And it's nice because you have data on your page available, and it's nice if you can show that in charts, pie charts, line charts, bar charts. Juggel docs, we talked about documents, whether they are in SharePoint or in Google Workspace. They are not ideal. You want to have your information in the wiki, but you must have a way to deal with documents. And Juggel Docs takes care of that. right now, these are all growing features, but this is very nice. I like this already very much. You can, from within your Juggel, you can read and browse through folders. You can create documents. You can create new folders. And we are working on doing the same with SharePoint. This is a very interesting feature as well. Juggel Share allows you to take a data set on a page and create a share version of that and share that with your customer or your partner on a public page in the wiki. Right? It's a very nice thing. AI support is everywhere. I'm going to show you that in a minute for Juggel lists. When I started Juggel, I thought, well, this is the age of AI, so it has to be integrated. It has to be everywhere. This is also a very interesting feature, I think, because if you are able to share stuff to the public, for example, a survey. We had a survey this morning. If you publish a survey, you don't want, and if it's a public survey, you don't want the data be stored in the wiki. So, but what you do want is you want to define the survey in the wiki, then publish it, then store the data, in this case in Google Firestore, and then read Firestore, analyze, create charts from it, and publish that with the share feature. It sounds complicated, but these kind of scenarios are really scenarios that our customers want, are very, well, they are very interested if you can offer that. And this is the only real coming soon, so it's not there yet, but I can tell you it's going to be there. I've called it Juggel Takeoff, because with the structure of Juggel, with the dupes and the data on pages and the lists I'm going to show you, it really is possible, I think, to take these 3 steps and create a first version of a knowledge management or information system for your business, let's say in a matter of hours. And the first step is that you go in a dialogue with your AI assistant to get a good understanding of your business. The second step is that you generate lists of page types, of lists, of shares, so it's all well defined. And also AI assistants. What kind of AI assistants do you need to support your business? Why not? And then you have the AI assisted generation from the list. Yeah, it sounds a bit magic. It is, I think. But I think it's going to be there in spring. And I'm going to show it, I think. Okay, let's focus on Juggel lists. It seems like the least sexy part of Juggel, but it isn't. They are very easy to create. They are totally schema defined, and there are a lot of interesting things you can do with it. Okay, let's have a look at, oh, there you go. So, just testing the pause button. So the page is totally empty, and what I'm going to do here is just put a dupe on the page. So, and a Jupe is a JavaScript app. I put it on the page with a template. So what happens is this. Well, you know this. So you have to decide two things. You have to decide what type of Jupe, and you have to name the dataset because the dataset is to be unique. So, and if you put a list Jupe on it, first you get nothing. You get a thing that you can add things in a list, but what you want, of course, is a schema. You want to know what the list is for. So you select the schema and bring your list to life. It's a good idea to also add a class, because that's going to be handy when you store things in Semantic MediaWiki. This is a very simple list, so but you get just by putting a Jupe on your page, you get interesting stuff. When you hit the save button, it saves all this in JSON on the page in the data slot. Okay. So what's next? What's the next step? A project log. This list we saw is perfectly all right for a project log. But the next thing you want is to have lists, for example, for your project planning, like this. And you typically want to have a kind of a template, a pre-fill somewhere, and be able to put that on your list. So let's have a look how that works. First, I'm going to show you how to get rid of the data and how to get rid of the data set. And I think that's interesting as well, because so the data is local on the page, so it's very easy to delete it, to get rid of it. So now I have deleted the data, but kept the Jupe definition, kept the data set. But now I'm going to delete the data set as well. So that means that I only have on the main page this Jupe call, and there's nothing in the slot. I'm going to change the name of the data set. And it's still the list Jupe, so the type of Jupe has not changed. But I'm going to take another schema, project planning in this case. And so you won't be surprised, it's going to look like a list for project planning. With the done checkboxes, and of course if you tick them, then they work. It's not there because there's no content, so now we are going to add a pre-fill page. I know this is the name of the page, and I know the data set is called planning on that page, so you have to have the page and the data set on that page. And it simply copies the data from that page and puts it in the Jupe. So that works nicely. But if you watched carefully, you saw in the list, you saw some interesting things. What you can do, you can. Oh. Oh. I shouldn't have done that. I'm a little bit ahead now, so it's going to be okay. In the display section, you can select a property. It takes the you see you can select one, so it takes the properties that are in the schema. you can select a property, and it's going to use that property to add stuff in the HTML. So it will add classes, and those classes, well, we're going to see that. So here you class modifier, that's why it's called class modifier. So we take the category, and yeah, all of a sudden it looks, every milestone has a nice color. It's not, I'm going to show you now what happens, what actually happens. There's a class added to the row, so it's an activity row. It's a milestone row because you selected the category. You can select other things, and then you will get other things in the. This is a nice feature for lists. Okay, so now about AI support for lists. Well, let's have a look. There are two ways you can use AI on lists. First is use the content of the list and do something artificially intelligent with it. And that's what we are going to do first. So yeah, this is, I'm going to stop here because what you see on the left is that it selected one AI assistant, and AI assistants are, they configure the way AI is applied. So what you can see there, first you get the context. So what you can see there is it uses the information from the current page. It uses the information from the current page properties. It uses the current data sets, which obviously is the project planning. That's the data set corresponding to the dupe. And it uses the moment, so that's some information somewhere so it means that today is the November 5th. And the instruction, of course, is important. The instruction for this AI assistant is not very sophisticated, but I can tell you one thing that I have added in the instruction is explain about sections, because I'm going to ask the AI assistant to add explanations for all milestones and all activities. And it's a live demo, video demo, so it's a bit slow. So it's when you want to effectively use an AI assistant, you really must understand. You must have good instructions, and it's also good to understand what your question, what works and what doesn't. It's not like that everything works. But this is a good add after the planning dupe for each milestone, a level 2 section, and for each activity a level 3 section with explanation. Well, okay, there it goes. And it looks fine. So let's add it to the page. Or what it's actually doing is really replacing the page, but I have confidence in that. That, of course, that's in the instruction that it should really it should do well. So this is using the information in the list in an AI assistant, and the next thing is in the list itself, and that's also very interesting. So that means that the dupe itself has AI capabilities. First you have to add AI support. At the moment there's only one AI assistant for lists. Of course you can, if you have different kinds of lists, you can have dedicated AI assistants. But this one, what I want to do is tell, because the template doesn't have dates. So what I want to do here is tell the list when the project starts on December 1, 24 and ends May 1st, 2025. And I want, and this is an interesting detail, can you give a planning with start dates and due dates that correspond to the nature of the activities and the milestones? If you don't say that, it comes with other results. So if you specifically say reflect the nature of the activities and milestones, you simply get a better result. So you really start to understand what does work and what doesn't. Well, this looks great. What I like about this is that the milestones are only one day. The kickoff, which is an activity, is also one day. Well, it did what it was supposed to do, and it also gave a textual response. So this AI assistant was satisfied with the result as well, I think. The list features, there are many list features. Some of them are mentioned here. So you have derived properties. That's at a time that if you edit one field, then something magical happens somewhere else. Lookup is that you can look up in other data sets. And then you have derived editable and lookup derived. And you can add all kinds of actions, like create pages. So I would say Ike would give the list feature an excellent badge. Questions?
I just had a question about the milestone generation by AI. Is it creating longer times for different task items?
It did.
It did.
Yeah.
But what is that based on?
It's based on what I asked. That I said I want you to. I want the planning to reflect the nature of the activities and the milestones.
Wow.
That's it. No more.
Yeah, what is the actual prompt you generate, and is there also structured content in play?
Yeah, the structured content. Yeah, that's a good. There is also an AI assistant behind it. So, in this case, yeah, that's a good question. The prompt consists of the data in the Joop, so the planning data. It consists of the schema of the list.
JSON schema?
It also works if it's empty. So if you have nothing, it also works. So the schema is also part of the prompt, and the question, and it returns a JSON object with the response data and a comment. So you always get a response text and the data. But together that's a JSON object. Yeah, works. It's not complex.
Yeah, that's great, thank you.
Okay, there seem to be no further questions, so thank you, Art.